They're back. Welcome into week 7 of Game Day Recap. I'm your host, Haley Sutton. You'll meet the crew in just a minute. For 1 second, we thought that the Chiefs were done. They were cooked as the dynasty's dead. Not so fast, my friends. They get up with a humongous win over the Raiders. They shut them out 31-0. Big win there for Kansas City. By the way, you wanted more passing perfection from Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. You get that. He has nearly a perfect game as they take down the Vikings. The Jets, Jets. Unfortunately, still no win for the guys in green. Maybe something coming sometime soon for Aaron Glenn. But in the meantime, the Colts, Pete Prisco, needed more from them last week. He said if they can beat the Chargers, he'll have some nice things to say. So let's see what our Pete Prisco has to say about those Indianapolis Colts as we welcome you to our set. We've got Pete right across. You thought I was going to leave that hanging? I can't wait to hear what you got to say about Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts. We've got our GM on set, Rand Carthon. Rand, nice to see you. And you'll notice no Damian Harris, but that's okay. We've got Danny Kanell.
In his place,
right. We've got our guy Danny Kanell coming back with us. You just got back from a big college trip, though.
We were out
How
in
was Wisconsin?
Madison was awesome. Too many cheese curds and spotted cow beers. But the Ohio State Buckeyes were the story. They looked awesome. It was fun.
They do look awesome. I am sure that the Raiders maybe could use their offense. But we're not starting with the Raiders, guys. What the heck did we just watch? The Broncos and the Giants game. Unbelievable finish. Somehow, some way, Bo Nix pulls this one out. He goes from a 0 for most of the game to a hero going forward. We'll show you some of the action here, guys, because this was all but lost for the Broncos. So then you have Bo Nix and the team turning up. He uses his legs to keep the guys in contention here. Danny, when you're watching this with Bo Nix, what's going through your mind?
Just how bad of a first half he had, and then be able to get the team, bring them all the way back down the field. And then Jackson Dart did his best, impression late in the game with a chance to win and potentially have a fourth quarter comeback of his own. But the Broncos were having none of it.
Of course, it comes down to a field goal, and the Broncos on the winning side of this one as they take down the Giants. We certainly thought that it was going to be some more magic from Jackson Dart. Pete, I want to talk about them, but first, let's talk about the Broncos and what they were able to do with what they did today. What'd you think?
When you can come back in a game like that, it speaks volumes about you as a team. I know you're at home and you're playing a team you're supposed to beat, but you look up in the fourth quarter and you're down 26-8. What do? And your quarterback hasn't played very well, and all of a sudden he turns it on, makes plays in the fourth quarter. Remember, we saw him do that a couple weeks ago against the Eagles in the fourth quarter, and we thought, okay, Bo Nix is back again. For most of that game, he looked lost. He threw for 89 yards in the first half, and we were sitting in the green room. We're talking about him. They got a Bo Nix problem. And then when the lights go on and he has to make plays, he made the plays. So credit to him. But I'm still not sold yet on him being able to be that guy when you need him to make the plays the most.
I mean, your cousin, Cortland.
My cousin.
He made plays when they needed him to make plays. That big catch to get them down in an even better field goal situation. And then Marvin Mims, you see him as a 5'9", 5'10" guy, but he's making big plays, contested balls, and going vertical to make these plays. And again, we talked about the quote-unquote Bo Nix problem, but it was the guys around him that all stepped up and made plays when they needed to put them in position to score.
I thought we just witnessed the best game of the season. We saw 33 points scored by the Broncos in the fourth quarter alone. We saw lead changes in the last couple minutes. It was incredibly entertaining, unless you're a New York Giants fan and you were thinking they could pull off this miraculous upset. It was really like the tale of 3 quarters for one team and 1 quarter for another, because in the first half, my big question mark was, where is this Denver defense, which is supposed to be so dominant? And they're getting carved up by a couple of rookies in Cam Scatterbo and Jackson Dart, and you're thinking, all right, are they ever going to wake up? And then when they needed to get the stops the most at the end of the game, they were able to get them. They got the big interception, which clearly was a rookie mistake. We use that term all the time for a reason. It's when young rookie quarterbacks do something they're not supposed to do. I know it's third down. You have a lead. You're trying to protect it. You think you can make a play. You simply cannot do that if you're Jackson Dart in that situation. Gave the Broncos the ball back. Those are what allows those types of comebacks to happen. It's going to be a learning experience for them, but I do think you have to tip your cap to Sean Payton and the Broncos and Bo Nix and that defense for showing some incredible mettle in that game. And I think that's what really good football teams do. And unfortunately for the Giants, that's what bad football teams do, or young, inexperienced teams do in situations like that.
If we stay on the side of the Giants for a moment, because I think we were all like, oh my gosh, is Jackson Dart going to do this? This is going to be his moment. But Rand, obviously it doesn't pan out. Talk to me, I guess, about the confidence in this room when you're going through the roller coasters of a rookie quarterback who sometimes you're going to get those magic performances and sometimes you're going to get mistakes like we saw today.
It's like Danny said, it's one of those situations for this young football team that it would have been great to finish this off with a win, right? It would have been another morale boost, as if they didn't already need more confidence because they have that in their two-headed monster. But this is something for them to learn from and how to close out and finish a game, because the offense did their part. The young fella drove the ball down, they scored, put them up with 30 seconds left. Unfortunately, he didn't play defense. And so that was the situation. And I hate to even equate it to this. I coach a 8U flag football team.
Oh, no.
We got smoked in the tournament yesterday, lost all 3 games. But was in another tournament today. I didn't coach, and they won both games today.
Oh my God!
But this was something But this was something we talked about yesterday with the kids. Like, this is adversity, and you're going to be better for this, and you're going to learn from this, and you'll play better tomorrow. And I think, Haley, you were right there when I was talking to my kids about how the game went, and they were excited and even said, like, we learned from yesterday. So it'll be the same thing for this Giants team.
You called them out also, too, because I think one of your kids was bragging about the touchdowns, and you're like, okay, but how many tackles did you have? What'd you do on defense? And he was like, all right, I can do it.
What a downer you are. Let the kid enjoy
right?
himself.
Let him celebrate a little bit.
I did my best Pete impersonation.
Well,
okay, there we go.
By the way, we get into Jackson Dart, and he went and got the game-winning the go-ahead touchdown, but he didn't do anything. I mean, he had a pass interference penalty. He had a roughing the passer penalty and a pass interference penalty, and Sean Payton went on the field and got another penalty that gave you an extra yard, and then he scored. So, yeah, it would have been a game-winning drive, but it really didn't do anything. But they have to be thrilled by what they're seeing from him. Thrilled. They have their guy. And that's when you come out of a game like that, you go to Denver and you're on the road against arguably one of the best defenses in the league. You know, people compare them to the '85 Bears as much as they sacked the quarterback, and we said that last week. And all of a sudden you go out there and you look up and the quarterback's playing well as a rookie on the road in that environment. Don't worry about it, Giants. You lost the game, but you have your quarterback, and I think you have your quarterback, and you're probably going to keep your coach now, too, as well.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Are we feeling like Brian Daboll bought himself another week, another season?
I think he's buying himself another season. I think when you have a rookie, I think if you have a rookie quarterback who's making progress throughout the season, why would you make the change to go start all over again with a new system?
We saw 3 other teams do it, though, which I think was a total mistake. I will say this. We have 10 games left. That's a lot of football to remain to be seen.
But they're getting better.
I think they clear, and I agree with you. From what you've seen so far, you have to be so enthusiastic. I thought it was huge for Wan'Dale Robinson to step up. You know, in Malik Neighbors' absence, all of a sudden Daniel Bellinger, they're having some tight end production. So I thought those were all good things, but there is still a lot of football left. But I think right now you have to feel really good about Jackson Dart paired with Brian Daboll. I thought Mike Kafka called a really good game for the first half and maybe 3 quarters, but they'll learn. But I think what you want to see is to continue this confidence that is there, because it's almost a naivete. They don't know any better because you got these young bucks that are out there running around making plays, which can burn you sometimes. As long as they keep their confidence and playing with this freedom and excitement, it's an energy that you can see is very palpable, then I think all signs point to, yeah, you're going to give them another year.
And to that point, Danny, that's the gift and the curse of having these young fellas. Because even Jackson Dart moving around, he was able to hit Bellinger downfield. Now, he might have missed him on the initial read.
He did.
But him moving around drew the defense up, and that's what he's able to do. What he's able to do with his legs helps create the explosives downfield because, like you said, they don't know any better. So he's just playing football, and that's the best part of what they have going right now. It'll
be a good test. The Giants get to take on the Eagles again, their second time in, 3 weeks at this point, so that'll be a fun one at Philly. And as for the Broncos, they host the Cowboys in a couple of weeks, or next week, I guess. So we will keep our eye on those teams. Let's talk about the Colts, Pete, and how impressed they were. Last week when we sat here, you said you needed to see them beat this Chargers team before you recognized that they were a solid team. And I don't want to make this like an I told you so thing, but what did you see from the Colts today that has you believing?
I bow down to the Indianapolis Colts. I bow to you. You've made me eat my words. If you could put some hot sauce on them, I eat them just like that. I'm a believer. I'm a believer. You go on the road against the Chargers. Now, the Chargers aren't the same team. They're banged up in a lot of spots. But you go on the road and dominate the way they did, and they did whatever they wanted to for most of that game on offense. Daniel Jones did his thing. Jonathan Taylor did his thing. The offensive line dominated up front. I love what they've done. They make plays in the passing game. They can run it. Jonathan Taylor has to put his name. In fact, both of them, Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor, put their names in the MVP conversation. This team is for real, and when you can score like they score, it makes it playing defense a lot easier.
That's exactly where I was going, and I'm glad you said it. And I know my bias when it comes to the running back position. But why can't Jonathan Taylor's name be mentioned in these top 5 conversations for MVP? And because we talk about MVP, most valuable player, and particularly most valuable player to your team, there are still people that question where Daniel Jones is, right? And what he's going to be able to do in the latter part of the season. Well, we know this offense runs through Jonathan Taylor. And if he is on, then this whole entire offense is on. Because the way they're built, they can hit the explosives downfield with Alec Pierce, Tyler Warren, what he's able to do underneath Michael Pittman, and Josh Downs didn't play today. And he's a threat when you talk about these option routes and being able to create in those third and short situations, but it still all revolves around Jonathan Taylor. And so why can't his name be mentioned? Because right now when we talk about MVP, it's all quarterbacks.
But it usually is, right? Like the MVP
is
a quarterback award, let's be real.
It is, but I think with the level in which some of these backups have been playing with these teams, you're starting to see that it's a team game.
Start the alarm. The running back defender is here.
I'll back him up, and I'm a former quarterback.
I'll back him up, too. I'm with him on that one.
I don't think Saquon got enough love last year. I know he got snuck into that conversation late, but I do think Jonathan Taylor, I think it's similar because I think he means as much to this Colts team as you saw Saquon mean to this Eagles team last year. And it is interesting because I look at this team and I'm with you guys. I think they're going to win the division because the division is kind of falling apart. What's happened outside of there? They could be the #1 seed in the AFC, so they should have an incredible home field advantage there at Indy. But I do think this is relying on Jonathan Taylor. They better hope that he stays healthy because I still look at Daniel Jones and I still need Heats to prove over a more consistent period of time that those days from the New York Giants of inconsistency are behind him. In their one loss, he did have a couple interceptions against the Rams where you saw a little bit of that old Daniel Jones crop up. So I still think they need to kind of continue to prove to everyone, Pete and everybody who just looks at him just a little bit of speculation, say, all right, I just need to see you continue to do this. But I think as long as Jonathan Taylor is healthy, this team absolutely is a Super Bowl candidate.
And I think that's a conversation we were having earlier, right? It's like, okay, Daniel Jones is playing really well, but what if something happens to him versus what if something happens to Jonathan Taylor where your confidence lies a little bit more?
I'd still rather have the quarterback. I'm sorry. He's the MVP of the team, but you'd rather have the quarterback. I mean, would you rather play with Anthony Richardson in the backup running back or Daniel Jones?
Daniel Jones all day with a backup running back all day long.
Of course.
But I do think that does.
That's why it's an MVP.
But I think
that's why it's a quarterback award.
I think that lessens their expectations, though.
Danny didn't even let Pete finish.
I know.
I knew where he was going. Kanye West. He said, I'm not going to let you finish.
But he's not wrong, though. You'd rather play with Daniel Jones in the backup running back than Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson.
And I'll say this, and I don't disagree, but what I'll say is right now Daniel Jones is in an unbelievable situation because it's not dependent on him, right? He doesn't have to go win the game for the Colts. He just has to make the plays that are called for him, which is why you see Shane Steichen calling the game the way he is. This is the best we've seen Shane Steichen call an offense since he's become a head coach. With this team because he finally has a guy that can operate the system the way he needs it to, but he also has that threat in the backfield, and off of that, he can make those plays and those.
I was going to say, I could call plays with Jonathan Taylor running the ball like that. It opens up everything,
And a really good offensive line, by the way. And here's the other thing. We talk about awards. Shane Steichen is the coach of the year right now.
We talked about that last week. Yeah,
right
he
now.
is doing so well. Real quick, because we've got to hit a break here. What's the vibes on the Chargers? Just real quick, because we're tight on time.
They're banged up. I think their offensive line, they got to get healthy. Justin Herbert can't carry
But not just that. Defensively, they have problems. They got problems.
I've just never bought what the Chargers are selling.
Because they're charging. It's charging.
They are charging. Who's got it better than Jim Harbaugh's Chargers?
A lot of teams.
A lot of teams at this moment. All right.
A lot of bodies.
A lot of bodies. Let's take a break here on Game Day Recap. Plenty more to talk about. You talk about guys having better days than Jim Harbaugh. Mike McDaniel, certainly not one of them. Is it time to fire the head coach in South Florida? Can you get rid of the quarterback too? We're breaking down the Dolphins situation after this.